In this video, I'm going to show you how I edit this image, how I took it from the camera raw to Photoshop, and I give it this final look. I had a last moment photo shoot, and it was only like 10 minutes. He didn't have time, I didn't have too much time, but we thought that we can make it work. And he wanted something with the teal and magenta color in the final image to work out with his business cards. This image was for social media, so it was not a planned shoot. It was just something like, a couple of pictures to make it work. Early this morning, I got some Profoto color gels for my flushes, and I thought that was a good opportunity to put them to work. I start with Profoto A2 on the left with the blue gel, and Profoto A10 on the right side with a magenta gel, and I use a V-flat background to simplify the image, but I didn't like it. I thought that it doesn't add, a very simple background doesn't add to the image, and I took it out. I thought that the room in the background adds more interest. I realized also that I need to switch the red gel on my Profoto A10 with the shoot umbrellas to have a proper exposure on my subject face, because I have to edit the image in Photoshop, and it's very good to have a very solid base image to start with, so you don't have to fuss around too much in Photoshop with color correction. It was a very fast photo shoot, and I took the images in Photoshop, and I'll show you guys how I edit the images next. I'm starting in Bridge. I like this image, and I'm gonna open it up on a camera raw. I think I'm analyzing the whole picture here, and I think the background is the most work. I don't like how it looks. It doesn't have any interest. It doesn't help this picture at all. And first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a background mask. The selection is pretty good because the subject is backlit, and I had crisp edges. And the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play with the color temperature here. I'm gonna going towards blue, so I have a nice bluish background. I'm gonna open up the shadows a little bit to give more interest, and I'm gonna give it some saturation. The next thing, I'm gonna create another mask, and I'm gonna select subject, and with the select subject, I'm just trying to adjust the shadows, open up the shadow a little bit to give it more detail, a little bit of the contrast, and I think it might help a little bit of warmth in the skin tones. And pretty much this is what I'm gonna do. And maybe, yeah, I have the contrast, maybe the blacks a little low, like -4. The blacks are gonna look more rich. And I'm gonna open the image in Photoshop. And Photoshop, the first thing I'm doing, because this is an image, he's gonna use it for social media, I'm gonna cut it, because the image size I'm shooting with the Canon R5, and the image sizes are crazy. It's like 256 megabytes, so I'm gonna shrink it like an 8x10 300 dpi. This is all gonna be great for what he wanna use the image. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna go to layers, and the first thing what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate the layer. I'm gonna Command J. I'm gonna duplicate the layer, and I'm gonna create two empty adjustments layer. The first layer, I'm gonna call it magenta, and I'm gonna use an gradient overlay. I'm choosing this magenta color from the color picker. I click OK. I already have it there. I don't know why. I'm gonna choose the gradient. I go to the magenta layer, and I'm gonna do a swap from right to left. I see it has more blue color on the left, so I want to use this one for my second layer, which is the blue layer. And I gonna pick a bluish color, maybe something like this, so it's very similar with what I already have. And I'm gonna get my gradient tool, and I do a sweep from left to right to add more color to the background. I'm gonna change the blending mode on these layers to soft light, magenta 2. I'm gonna do the soft light, and this is getting too dark, so the magenta I'm gonna lower it to maybe 30ish, something like 55. I like how it looks. I like the blue here on the left. I think this is maybe I just gonna lower it to 90, so it's just a nice even color. The next is I'm gonna stamp the layer. Shift Option Command E and on a Mac, and you stamp the layer above. And now I think I'm gonna start working on the background. I don't know if you guys use filters. I'm using the Skylum software. I'm gonna use the Luminar Neo, and this is something like you can, like the layer I'm gonna use from Luminar, you can create it on your own on Photoshop, but this is a faster way to approach this. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go Luminar Neo to edit. I'm gonna choose one overlay layer, and this has some autofocus lights kind of, and I like how it creates depth to the image. I'm gonna move this white spot to the right a little bit, you know, give it more room to the face, and I'm gonna apply. So you already see that I already have like the whole image is has a different vibe. You can create this adjustment layer, what I use from Luminar Neo. In Photoshop, you just create a new like 2 layers. One, you're gonna be your we're gonna fill it up with blue or whatever color you need to for your image. And the second one, you're gonna get a paintbrush. Let's say I'm gonna do some magenta colors, and you just go with super, you know, wide and soft paint dabs, you know, here and there. Let's say you want to use some yellowish, you know, highlights. You're gonna do some, you know, for your image, and maybe you want to go with something even mimic the one I have right now. And the highlights layer, you have to go to filter, and you're gonna blur it. I'm gonna use Gaussian blur, and you see, like, you gotta look to see how much, you know, you wanna blur this colors here. You're gonna say okay, and the blue layer, I'm gonna change it to soft light, and I'm gonna change the my highlights to screen. And I already see, like, this is with the adjustment layer I just did. I'm gonna lower the intensity of the blue layer, you know, as much as I can. And you already know, like, of course you're gonna play with the opacity of this layer a little bit, you know, and you kind of like create the same thing, but it takes a little bit more time. I'm using the Luminar Neo because when I was trying to see if the image will work with some with this approach, I just run to, you know, instead of spending time doing the adjustments layer, I just went straight to Luminar Neo, and I used that layer, and it worked out. And I just want to, you know, keep all the images with the same background right now, but of course you can do your own layer and highlights layer, you know, and adjust it for your color. So going back to this, I'm gonna delete these 2 layers. And I think it's a little bit too much magenta color in his face. I'm gonna create a layer mask with a soft brush. You're gonna use your blacks to paint in. I'm just gonna use my bracket keys on my keyboard to know to open up a little bit the face, the hand, you know, a little bit. You have to always have to pay attention of the color of the hands because they can go nuclear on you. And so I got a little bit, it looks fine. What I want to do right now, because you always, you know, this mask is just, you know, a quick mask. You double click your mask, and I'm gonna play with the density a little bit, you know, lower it to 84. I'm gonna feather it so it doesn't, you know, like whatever imperfection I did with my brush, they kind of like blend in, and it looks more natural right now. I'm gonna close it. I like what I got, and I think that this image are gonna work nice if I add some sort of vignette. I'm gonna choose the elliptical tool, and I gonna select, you know, like rough select around my subject. I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna select inverse, and I'm gonna right click again. I'm gonna feather it, and I'm gonna have like 200 pixel. I think is fine for this image size, so you don't have, you know, like you blend in you feather in the edges. I'm gonna use not black. I will try with blue to see how it looks. I'm gonna fill in. I'm gonna change the blending mode to soft light. This way you kind of like darken the edges. I'm gonna lower it, you know, to like 38. I'm gonna deselect, and I think you see, I like how it looks. Now I'm gonna try something else because I think it's something, you know, it's too bluish, and I think I need to warm up somehow the image. I'm gonna try to see how it works. I'm gonna stamp again, Shift Option Command E on the keyboard, and you stamp the layer. I'm gonna use a lot from the color lookup table here, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the 3D LUT files here, and it's something I have more, you know, LUTs here downloaded, but you're gonna use the one it comes with the Photoshop. I use the tension green, and you already see that it gives more like a cinematic look. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lower the opacity a little bit more, maybe to 37, something like that, and you see it has a more greenish look, which I really like. I'm gonna try to see if we can do a layer mask here on the left side to open up this magenta color. So I'm gonna use the color lookup layer to open it up. Yeah, I think it looks fine like this, just, you know, a little, you know, to open up to see more magenta. And the last thing, I'm gonna flatten the image, duplicate it. You can, and I mean, your workflow can be different, you know, just do whatever you are familiar with, what is convenient for you. And I think I want to smoothen out a little bit his skin, and I'm just gonna use the neural filter in Photoshop. I like these filters, they are fast. I'm gonna use the skin smoothing, you know, so the plugin already selects the face. I'm gonna leave it with the base settings here. I don't change nothing, you know. I think I like how it looks. It's a little bit maybe too much, and I'm gonna go right now and analyze it in the layer. I think it looks fine, but I'm gonna give it like 70, you know, 70%. I'm gonna lower the opacity of this layer so it looks more natural. I think this is fine. You have enough room here to if you want to do any typing, you know, on both sides of the image. It looks interesting. It doesn't look boring, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna be happy. It's better to get these images right in the camera, but sometimes, you know, like we're in a hurry, and we have to learn how to roll out with the punches and make it work. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Please comment below if you want to see more Photoshop tutorials on my channel. Please like and subscribe, and I see you next time.